What's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Right now, I want you to take a look at my cartoon book. I just want to switch it up a little bit. This series is around the world. These are all middleweights. Right now, I'm showing you a fighter by the name of Charlie Holmes. Charlie Holmes was a fascinating fighter from Paris. He never held the World Middleweight Championship, but he was champion in Paris. They called him another Marcel Cerdan, which he was. He was a two-fisted fighter, came forward. He was a fascinating fighter. Salute to Charlie Holmes. Right now we're looking at Bobo Olsen. Carl Bobo Olsen was from Hawaii. He took the title away, actually was vacated in 1953, and he fought Randy Turpin for that championship. Sugar Ray Robinson retired in 1952. When he lost the fight to Joey Maxim, he tried to move up in weight and take Joey Maxim's light heavyweight championship, but he dehydrated and couldn't continue the 14th round. So Carl Bobo Olsen became the middleweight champion in 1953 from a vacated title from Sugar Ray Robinson over this man here, Randy Turpin. One more thing about Carl Bobo Olsen, he moved up to light heavyweight to try to take the title away from Archie Moore. Was unsuccessful, but he was a very good fighter, Carl Bobo Olsen. But back to Randy Turpin. Randy Turpin took the title away from Sugar Ray Robinson, and he lost the title 1952. The same year, a couple months later, he lost the title to Sugar Ray Robinson. Carl Bobo Olsen had three brothers. Dick Turpin was a very good fighter. But salute to Randy Turpin, very good fighter. Unfortunately, he took his life, but things got a little hard for him. But see, that's why you got to be mentally strong as well as physically strong. Here we have an Australian fighter, one of the best middleweights of all time, Davy Sands. I talked about him a few times. He was from down under, and Davy Sands was one of the most avoided middleweights outside of Charlie Burley. No one wanted to fight him, and Carl Bobo Olsen fought him. And if you look at my profile, you'll see where I talked about Davy Sands fighting Carl Bobo Olsen. And Bobo Olsen couldn't defeat Davy Sands twice. Fascinating. Look under the Carl Bobo Olsen profile, and you'll see what I'm talking about, that particular fight. And here you have Davy Sands. Just want to show you Davy Sands. Fascinating fighter from Australia. Here you have Joe Louis, defending his title 26 times. He actually defended it 25 times. Held the heavyweight championship 11 years. It was actually 11 and a half years. But fascinating fighter was Joe Louis. Took the title away from James J. Braddock, 1937. Fascinating fighter was Joe Louis. He retired in 1951 officially after he lost to Rocky Marciano. Dynamite fighter Joe Louis. Mickey Walker, 165 pounds, fought heavies. Mickey Walker took the title away from Pete Lasso. Took the welterweight championship, I should say, from Pete Lasso. And took the middleweight championship away from Tiger Flowers. Dynamite fighter. He went up to fight Max Schmeling and Jack Sharkey and Tommy Loughran, all the greats. Rocky Marciano never lost. He was 49-0 when he retired. He was about to make a comeback, but unfortunately for him, he died in a plane crash. Rocky Marciano was a dynamite puncher. He knocked out Joe Walcott for the heavyweight championship. His last fight was in 1955 after he fought Archie Moore. Fascinating heavyweight. It was Rocky Marciano. Here you have Benny Leonard. Benny Leonard was a dynamic fighter. Dynamic fighter. Between him and Joe Gans, two greatest lightweights of all time. I placed Roberto Duran number 3 behind one of the two of Benny Leonard and Joe Gans. Now Benny Leonard, he fought all the greats of his time. But he fought a southpaw, a lefty, by the name of Lou Tendler. And that showed me a lot about Benny Leonard. I have that fight film on a reel-to-reel at the house here. He was a phenomenal lightweight champion. It was Benny Leonard. Dominant. Here you have Gene Tunney. Gene Tunney had the ABF light heavyweight championship That was like an amateur title, almost like the Olympics. But he was a very, very good light heavyweight. A lot of people don't know that. But he lost to Harry Greb, and Harry Greb took the title away from Gene Tunney. And then Gene Tunney took the title back away from Harry Greb. Then Gene Tunney moved up to face Jack Dempsey, 1926. Soldiers Field. Unbelievable. They had the long count. Dynamite fighter was Gene Tunney. Very good fighter. Henry Armstrong held all 3 titles at the same time. 1936 away from P.D. Sarin. 1938 he had the welterweight championship away from Barney Ross. And then he went down the same year to take the lightweight championship away from Lou Ambers. Fascinating fighter was Henry Armstrong. Harry Greb. Harry Greb was a fascinating fighter. I have him number 2 of my all-time rankings. I have Henry Armstrong number 4 of my all-time rankings. But Harry Greb took the title, like I said, away from Gene Tunney. Fascinating. Harry Greb took the title away from Jackie Wilson in 1923. He became middleweight champion of the world, and he lost the title to Tiger Flowers in 1926. Here you have Sugar Ray Robinson, greatest champ. Sugar Ray Robinson took the vacated welterweight championship away from Tommy Bell. They fought for the vacated welterweight championship from Marty Servo. He was a 1-time welterweight, 5-time middleweight champion. Took the title away from Jake LaMotta in 1951. Then he won it Carl Bobo Olsen and Gene Foreman, Carmen Basilio. And he wound up losing it to Paul Pender. Fascinating fighter, Sugar Ray Robinson. 1922 to 1962. Great fighters. New Jersey heavyweight heroes. Here we have one of the best looking prospects, Pat Kaminsky. I remember he got knocked out when he fought Max Baer, but he was a very good fighter himself, Pat Kaminsky. Here you have Joe Jeanette, I think the best fighter of Jersey of all time. Joe Jeanette, awesome African-American fighter, had the colored heavyweight championship. Nobody wanted to fight him. Dynamite. Look at my profile on the Jersey fighters, Joe Jeanette, and you'll learn more about him. Two-ton Tony Calento, colorful fighter. Got knocked out by Joe Louis in the 4th round. Spent more time in the barroom than he did in the boxing gyms. Paul Cavalier, dynamite fighter. He trained me in Lenny Shaw's boxing gym. He had a brother by the name of Art Cavalier. Dynamite fighter. He sparred with Gene Tunney, all of the greats. He was one of the greatest fighters, believe it or not. You just never heard about him. Fascinating fighter, Paul Cavalier. Salute to him. A popular fighter, James J. Braddock. James J. Braddock took the title away from the Cinderella Man, who was who he was. Took the title away from Max Baer. Then he lost the title to Joe Louis. Fascinating fighter was the Cinderella Man, James Braddock. Steve Hamas. Steve Hamas was another good fighter. He had good fights with Max Schmeling. He would step on your feet and try to punch you. That's just the type of fighter he was. Jersey Joe Walcott. Fascinating fighter was Jersey Joe Walcott. Had 2 good fights with Joe Louis. Unfortunately, he lost his title to Rocky Marciano. And Rocky Marciano knocked out Jersey Joe Walcott for the heavyweight championship. Jersey Joe Walcott took the title away from Ezzard Charles. And he would have been a Black Murderers Row fighter had he not won the title, but he was. He fought all the great Black Murderers Row fighters. Dynamite fighter was Jersey Joe Walcott. I'm just going through them real quickly. Salute to the New Jersey heavyweights. Greats. Here you have two dynamite welterweights. Jimmy McLaurin and Barney Ross. Fascinating fighters. They had wars with one another. Title switch hands with one another. But dynamite. Jim McLaurin took the title away from Young Corbett III. Barney Ross took the title away from Jim McLaurin. Jim McLaurin took it back from Barney Ross, and Barney Ross took it back from Jim McLaurin, eventually lost it to Henry Armstrong. Fascinating fighters, fascinating fight series of these two fascinating fighters. Now here's a salute to the Puerto Rican fighters. Salute to one of my subscribers, Pete Rosario. I just want to dedicate this to him. Here you have Carlos Ortiz. Carlos Ortiz from the Bronx, originally from Mayo West, Puerto Rico. Dynamite lightweight. Took the title away from Joe Brown, Old Bones. His last fight was with Ken Buchanan, but he fought them all. Fascinating lightweight champion was Carlos Ortiz. Here you have Pedro Martinez. Pedro Martinez, another fascinating fighter. Unbelievable. Look up these names under Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series, and those fights will show up, and you can learn more about them. Jose Torres. Jose Torres took the light heavyweight championship away from Willie Pastrano, and he lost that title to Dick Tiger. But he was a stablemate of Floyd Patterson's and Willie Pastrano under Castellammado. Fascinating fighter was Jose Torres. Cisco Escobar, dynamite fighter, bantamweight. Look him up. Scrapbook, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Type his name in, and you'll learn a lot about him. Estefan de Jesus had his wars with Roberto Duran. Fascinating fighter. Salute to these greats. Now, Ted Carroll was a very good sports writer. He was a cartoon sports writer. I always respect his work, so salute to him. But here you have Johnny Buff. Was a fine little champion. He was. Absolutely. Pete Lasso, welterweight champion of the world. He won a welterweight title by beating Mickey Walker. They went back and forth. The greatest, Stanley Ketchum. Stanley Ketchum was a fascinating fighter. Took the title away from Billy Papke. And then they went back and forth with the title. And then a guy by the name of Walter Dipley shot him. He was only 24 years old. Fascinating fighter, Stanley Ketchum. Before Jack Johnson. Tried to double-cross Jack Johnson, and Jack Johnson let him have it. Flattened him. I don't know how many seconds he was out. But an outstanding middleweight, Stanley Ketchum. Eddie Babe Visco, middleweight champion. He was a state champion title holder. He was a very, very good fighter. I got to do a profile on him. Very, very good fighter. Lee Omer, Fort Joe Louis. Al Hastak, he was a middleweight champion, another state champion. Frizzy Zivic. Frizzy Zivic had brothers. There was 5 of them. Eddie Zivic, Pete Zivic. But Frizzy Zivic, he gave Henry Armstrong a lot of problems. I mean, he gave a lot of people problems. He was a dirty fighter. Sugar Ray Robinson straightened that out when he fought Frizzy Zivic. But Frizzy Zivic, you know, it was crazy. He had like 67 losses or something. I can't remember quite. But he was a very, very good fighter. Fascinating fighter, Frizzy Zivic. Tony Zale, Man of Steel. Tony Zale had his wars with Rocky Graziano. They exchanged the title. Fascinating fighter, Tony Zale. Here I have the greatest, number 2, greatest fighter of all times, Harry Greb. fascinating fighter was heavy grabbing. Tony Canzoneri. I did a profile on Tony Canzoneri. I would advise you to type in Tony Canzoneri, Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series, and you will see the profile I did with Tony Canzoneri. But he was a dynamic fighter. I have him ranked number 8 of all times. Cooper Most Durable. These are foreign fighters again. Tommy Farr. Tommy Farr was Joe Louis's first title defense. He won 15 rounds with Joe Louis. He was a good fighter from Britain. Jackie Kid Bird. Very good fighter. He had 20 fights with Ted Kid Lewis. I did a profile on him. Type in Jackie Kid Bird, Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series, and you will learn about Jackie Kid Bird. And here's Ted Kid Lewis. Type in his name, Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series, and you will learn about Ted Kid Lewis. Jimmy Wild, same thing. Type in his name, and you'll learn about him under my profile. Under my channel. Randy Turpin. All good fighters. Type in his name, Scrapbook Boxing, and you'll learn about him. Len Harvey. I got to do a profile on him. I have his profile. I'll just share it with you. Give me about a week. Don Cocco. He fought Rocky Marciano. He was a good fighter, but he wasn't, what can I say? Gotta respect all fighters. Don't forget Theo, Sedan, Rogers, Critique, and Planner. These are all fighters from across the pond. Marcel Theo, middleweight champion of the world. What happened with Marcel Theo, he took the title. He didn't take the title. It was given to him because of Gorilla Jones. There was a situation with Gorilla Jones. I would advise you to go to my channel and look up Gorilla Jones, and I'll explain to you in his profile exactly what happened and how Marcel Theo got that title from Gorilla Jones. We'll just do it that way. George Carpentier, light heavyweight champion, fascinating fighter, fought Jack Dempsey. Look up George Carpentier under Scrapbook Boxing, and you will learn about him. I got all these fighters covered so far. I'm still working. Marcel Sedan, I have his profile. I just gotta do a video on him, and I will do so. Andre Wright, great fighters. Look, I'm just gonna tell you, just look under Scrapbook Boxing, and then type in some names, and they'll pop up. But I just wanted to have a little fun with y'all. This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Salute to all my subscribers. Peace.